behalf of TikTok and FOSI's board, working together to build safer, more positive spaces for young people. At TikTok, we believe that creating for youth means creating with youth, by listening to the things they have to say and working with them to help us design smarter safety solutions. So in a minute, a couple of the panelists are going to come out. You're going to be led by Corey Ponder, my colleague, moderator. I was with Corey in Singapore a couple of weeks ago. He moderates a mean panel, so you're in good hands. And arguably more importantly, he has a really strong SOC game. And if you know me, that's really important to me, so be on the lookout for that. You're going to have Marcelina, who's a freshman at Stanford on our youth council. I'm pretty sure she gets more done in a day in college than I did in a month in college, but that might be a story for another time. And last but not least, Hannah from one of our great partners at Presidio. The panel is called Building Together, the Power of Youth Co-Design in Tech. Thanks so much.
All right, well, first of all, thank you, Eric, for that introduction. What he didn't tell you is that I did that panel mostly dancing and singing, so I went over very well. But I'm grateful to FOSI to give us this space to actually have a conversation around what meaningful youth engagement looks like. I'm grateful for all of you being in the room because you clearly care about the topic, and we're excited to have the conversation with all of you. And I'm also excited for the conversation we're going to have with our panelists here. So as Eric mentioned, my name is Corey Ponder, and I work within our Trust and Safety Department. My team specifically focuses on working with NGOs who are also thinking about these types of issues every day and thinking about how we can advance the conversations around trust and safety. And so my team is full of a bunch of policy experts and issue experts who works on that. I am joined by two people. The first, immediately to my left, is Marcelina Machonk, and she is one of our global TikTok Youth Council representatives, so we're excited to have her here, as well as Hannah Edwards, who is representing Presidio Safeguarding, and again has been a longtime partner with us on our work with youth. So I'm going to jump in. We'll hopefully have some time at the end for Q&A, so also, get those questions bubbling up, and hopefully we'll have a chance to take a couple of those at the end. To start, though, I'm going to start with you, Hannah. I'm sure the audience would love to know a little bit more about yourself. So if you could tell me your full name, age, what you currently are doing, and what does your For You feed currently look like?
Okay. So, hi, I'm Hannah Edwards. I am the Head of Participation and Engagement for Presidio Safeguarding. So we are based in the UK, and we are really proud to be here today as facilitators of the amazing TikTok Global Youth Panel. Did you say age? I'm 42.
How about we do it?
That's okay, I'm good with it. I'm proud I'm 42.
I was say, or how many rotations of youth council support maybe have you done for TikTok?
Oh, okay, good, yes. So we're going into the third. Oh. We're going to the third rotation. My For You page. Well, I'm from the UK, okay? And if anyone is from the UK and is not entirely obsessed with Celebrity Traitors UK, then where have you been? So, yes. So I am proud to say that my content is entirely formed around that, and particularly Claudia Winkleman and her outfits. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right, Marcelina, same questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marcelina Machonk. I'm 19 years old. I come from Poland. I was born and raised there. And now, for the past 6 weeks, I'm based in California as I'm a freshman at Stanford studying data science. Thank you. Dreams come true, seriously. I'm passionate about cybersecurity, AI, and politics. So it's my second year with TikTok Global Youth Council. I'm very excited as it's the first week of the second term now. So it's incredibly inspiring to be part of the board that has so many young people that are passionate about making our world safer. But as I said, I'm passionate about politics. So I'm also part of NATO Youth Advisory Board. I was appointed by the NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte. So connecting those both worlds mean that my feed goes into both politics, AI, and news. That's why I'm passionate about those fields, and my dream is to later apply AI into the field of politics and come back to Poland in 17 years exactly. As the Constitution says, I need to be 35 to run for president of Poland. So
There we go. You heard it here, folks. Today was the day that Marcelina announced her candidacy for president.
in 17 years.
17 years.
So so soon, as we
So
can
soon,
say.
exactly.
But as I'm a student, I'm managing both worlds. So my feed is also about youth participation, but also trends, as every young teenager has. So I'm learning a lot about Gemini from Google, how to actually manage Gemini and help me with my studies at Stanford. So always every tip I can get from TikTok is very helpful in daily student life. And I recommend everyone using it and getting the inspiration from there too.
Thank you. So in fairness, I will also say what's on my For You feed, which is a little niche maybe, but I like watching the creation of art and paintings. So
Wow.
yeah, like I feel like it's a bit of a visual ASMR, but yeah, so a lot of that. So as we mentioned, we have our youth council. We're 3 years or going on 3 years now of the youth council, but it had to start somewhere with an idea. So I want to talk to you first, Hannah, and I want to raise this question with you. Can you tell us how our Global Youth Council was formed and how the partnership with TikTok has evolved from your perspective?
Sure. So Presidio first became involved with TikTok when we were onboarded to do some online safety research into young people's, what they think the risks are on the platform. So we obviously gained a huge insight in that research into how young people navigate these risks, but also into just how much TikTok means to young people, I think. And we went on then in 2021 to lead a study that was sponsored by TikTok, which really kind of explored prevention education responses to online dangerous challenges. And that really kind of looked at best practice on a global scale in this area. And was a really interesting. TikTok were hugely open in commissioning this research. We also then looked at evaluating some creator safety campaigns with young people. And it was around that time that TikTok approached us with the idea of setting up a youth council. I think at the time, Presidio were already running some significant youth panels, and I think TikTok recognized that participation is very much part of Presidio's DNA. And so, TikTok wanted it to be big and global and diverse and pretty immediate, I think. So we started to recruit fairly safely but quickly. And then the first year of the Youth Council happened. We had online meetings, which were a huge success. And it's evolved from there. Year two was even bigger and even better. And this year saw the first TikTok Global Youth Summit in London this year, which was amazing. And year three is looking to be even bigger and even better still. But I think it's important to say that we don't just measure that growth in terms of scale and size of the project. It's also about that real growth in understanding and the real understanding of the potential of these young people and the voices that they have in this space. And it's the real understanding of how they want to engage and how they want to participate. And I think we learned pretty early on that they don't just want to say, they want to do, they want to be. So we've evolved to try and build spaces around that and opportunities for them to do that. And I think that, we've been fortunate. We've had some amazing cheerleaders within TikTok right from the beginning. And now that has evolved, and we have Dan Mills, who does that in the most amazing way for us. And supported by Corey, supported by leadership. And that real buy-in has meant that we've been able to grow a real culture which is based around trust and respect amongst the young people, us as facilitators, but also across trust and safety teams within TikTok. So I think that's where the real growth has been, and we are really looking forward to 2026.
Thank you. And I just want to say, one, the Youth Council Summit, we have over 25 youth on the panel on our council now, but it was great to see them all come together and convene And really, I think the partnership, as you were saying, has been fruitful for us, especially when you think about how we bring more inclusion and diversity into the conversation, and also encourage the youth to actually participate in dialogue and encourage that. And speaking of encouraging dialogue, Marcelina, you do a lot of things, of course, engaging across issues that you care about, from mental health to other things around youth participation. But the TikTok Youth Council, I'm so curious how you actually found and first heard about the council, and then what was it? Was it a passion, or was it an interest or an issue that motivated you to apply to lend your voice to this council?
So as every young teenager, I used TikTok for a lot of years so far. So I joined TikTok when I was 13. So for now, it's so many years that I inspired from TikTok, and I grew with TikTok. And I'm representing also a generation that is growing with technology. So technology isn't just an addition to our life, we're growing, and as technology evolves, we're growing with it. So we're not even talking about technology as an addition for our parents or grandparents that are new to technology in some way, but we are the ones who are from school. We were always taught how to write and type on laptop from very beginning. That's why me growing up, I seen my friends from school also struggling with many things, as TikTok can be a platform when you grow and inspire, but where you can also feel peer pressure. And this is what I saw in my colleagues, that many of them struggled with mental health. And for example, even recently with OpenAI that published the report, more than 1 million people every week are discussing suicide with ChatGPT. And this is what I saw when I was growing up. When I was 13 years old, my best friend told me that she has suicidal thoughts and she would like to commit suicide, which for me as a young girl that was raised in a home that always looks for the bright side, for pink lenses, it was a shock. And I wanted to support her because it wasn't any statistic. And I feel like when we are young, we are taught only those statistics, but we are not taught why they matter and how to help. And that statistic, when I was 13, became my best friend. And it was the time that I wanted to act. That's why, firstly, I didn't know where does her problems and struggles come from, whether it's home or colleagues. So I wanted to create an environment that is supportive and friendly. And I created an initiative called Blue Box of Mental Health that works in Poland in more than 300 schools right now, supporting more than 170,000 students in anonymous, safe ways to help psychologists. And looking into how I can help with mental health and how can I impact even more students that are my age and who are going through the same problems, same situations, sometimes peer pressure of what they should follow, which trend. I wanted to support them and teach them how to navigate through an online world. So working a lot with government in Poland, one of the representatives from the Ministry of Education while I was working there also shared with me the possibility that if I'm interested in cybersecurity and the online world, there's a wonderful global council that I should be interested in. And so I did. And so I got interested in joining the Youth Council. And even as you could hear from many young representatives today, youth councils are a great form for us as young people to make our voices heard. And we can see the tangible impact. And this impact I wanted to bring to my peers. Not only to have a title and that's it. And this is what I love about TikTok, that it's not a council that is connecting twice a year and we are only updating about what happened in school, but we are actually having the access to many departments of TikTok, discussing policies, safety features, and also advising on new things that will come even this year, thanks to what we did in the council in my previous term. So this is what got me excited, mostly mental health, and this is how I was starting my social work. But it brought me today to a level that when I'm going back to the university and I'll be back from FOSI, and the new features will come out, and my colleagues will say, hey, Marcelina, have you seen the new mental health features on TikTok? And I'll be like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. So, you know, those are the feelings, those tangible impact you can bring that makes me want to go and continue into my third term and support the platform to be safer for future.
Thank you. So I want to say thank you for your vulnerability in sharing that story. And also, I think it really highlights the importance of bringing the lived experience into the work that we do so that we can continue to improve and iterate on some of those policies and products that you mentioned. I want to follow up on one thing that you said earlier, just about the importance of youth voice and the conversation with platforms. I mean, why? We talked a little bit about it, but why do you feel like tech platforms should be engaging youth to actually hear their voice or their perspective?
As Eric was saying also at the beginning, introducing the panel, in order to create a safe platform, we need to work with youth. Although I'm speaking from the youth perspective, I believe in that truly, that we are the users of the platform today, and we are not just any statistic there. Because for sure, we are living in the world of AI, of joining so many platforms, and the amount of social media apps is growing every day. That's why, like, thinking of how they're expanding, many people are following trends, and many tech companies are following trends. What is selling? What is a good product? How can we sell it to young people? But actually asking those users, why do they believe that those features are important, are what makes the app stand out, and why we as young people want to use it. Because today, we are not only the users, we are actually the real life proof of what works and what doesn't. And we can, from the young generation, also the companies can see how our lifestyle works, what are our sleeping hours, what are our relationships, friendships, because we are taking inspirations from applications like TikTok. So if you would like to have access to people from all around the world, we can connect with them very quickly and get inspirations on a school project, or even, for example, how to be a good friend in the world, or hear those get ready with me stories about friendship, about relations, and about family. And this is what matters, that we are hearing stories and life scenarios of lives of different people. And based on that, as we are looking into tech companies, and this is what we did also as the Youth Advisory Board, we were looking into new features, like, for example, sleeping hours, or family pairing, or time away. And we could actually advise TikTok on what is important for us. How can we make sure that we will have notifications about our sleeping hours? That now every teen that is around 16 years old, after 10 p.m., will get a full screen notification that it's time to sleep. And you cannot miss it. And we love it. Because sometimes it's easy to scroll through in the evening when you're tired after school. But we like to make informed decisions. So for us as the board, and we are coming from so many different countries, from Asia, Australia, Europe to US, we know that we would like to make those decisions informed. And TikTok can learn from our live scenarios. We are not data. We are living the media. We are living the app. So if we would like to create a family pairing feature, it's the best to talk to our parents, to discuss it, how to make the world's digital world better. Because it's not only the life world we're dealing with, but it's both at the same time.
Yeah, thank you. I want to actually ask you, Hannah, you see the passion, you see obviously the enthusiasm for the work. As a platform, from your perspective, as platforms that are engaging with youth, and maybe thinking about examples from TikTok's Youth Council, how have you seen the council effectively engage with leadership across trust and safety, across product? And then from your perspective, how do you create an environment where youth get a chance to have these types of passionate conversations?
I think a lot of it comes down to the really careful planning of these engagements. And, you know, when we look about setting up a youth council or an engagement, a huge amount of resource and time goes into safely onboarding, recruiting young people, as it should. We should absolutely make sure we are safeguarding these young people as we onboard them. But I think it's really important alongside that to afford time to really carefully content plan these engagements in terms of what we're going to look at over a period of meetings. And I think time needs to be set aside to collaborate with trust and safety teams across policy, you know, across product, to really think where are the real opportunities for youth voice to make a real meaningful change within this period of the council. And once those key areas have been identified, we really need to look carefully at the timings of that at what point in this product development, at what point in this policy development, is there a real window of potential influence that these young people can have? And then we need to plan our engagements carefully around that. And by doing that forward planning as part of this TikTok engagement that we've been running for the past 2 years now, by doing that, Dan has been able to make sure that the right people are in the room to hear these conversations, and that is absolutely key. Because if the right people are there to hear those conversations, then the messages are in the right place and there's real potential for change. And I think, there's absolutely place for those more ad hoc engagements. There's absolutely place for allowing these young people to drive the narrative of what they want to discuss. But I think if the groundwork has been done and there's a solid groundwork of content which has the real potential for influence, then there's a much higher chance of these young people seeing a real tangible outcome of these engagements. And I think that's ultimately what they really want. And I also think I'd encourage platforms to really see this as a learning journey for everybody involved. So, of course, the trust and safety teams are learning from young people, but young people need to learn through this process as well. And, whilst effective participation, facilitation absolutely has to hold space for challenge, I think if all parties are really understanding of where other parties are coming from, so if these young people know how product is developed, how policy is developed, then they're much more likely to come to the table with a solution which is based in reality, which is meaningful, which is tangible. And then that's much more likely to be adopted by trust and safety teams. And then that brings us much closer to the ultimate goal, which is co-design. And that's what we're ultimately aiming for. So I think if those things are in place from the beginning, it makes the end much easier to accomplish.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of what you said resonated. I think having different moments where we're able to bring our trust and safety leadership and even our CEO in front of the youth council at different points really, I think, helps set that tone for us. But then also even at a more granular level, I think the way that we think about doing planning, where we send out surveys to hear the youth voice on their priorities to align it with our internal team priorities, helps make some of those things that Marcelina mentioned, like the family pairing work, the well-being work that we've been doing, more rooted in the youth voice. So I'm going to ask one more question and then try to leave some time for a question from the audience. And this one is for both of you. I'll start with you, Marcelina. How can platforms take youth insights and turn them into actionable feedback for their different teams? So I'll start with you, Marcelina.
During my term last year, we had several meetings. We were connected both through our districts, so we were connected by continents, and then we were grabbed together to a whole council meeting. And during each meeting, we had amazing speakers speaking from different departments of the platform. With them, we discussed potential new features that are coming up and what we as a young generation are thinking about them. I cannot spoil a lot yet, but many things are coming. So I encourage every one of you here, but also all your kids, to check out the new features that are coming up in the TikTok newsroom, to be updated on what is happening with our board and what features we advise on. But I will say that every feedback we are sharing as the advisory board on those policies are later implemented. And this is what we could see during our youth summit in London, that we work on pro tips for teens. That will be soon up too. We were working on the family pairing. We were working on sleep schedule, time away. And my favorite that was also implemented are the mindfulness missions, well-being features, that you can have breathing exercises, mindfulness, but not in that sense you're thinking about. Those are amazing exercises that are lasting 2 minutes. And me as a young person that just finished high school can say strongly that I love them. And the graphics they have with TikTok, they're incredible to use to take the time away before bed. If you are on your phone, try to make the best of it. And all the feedback we're implementing, we see TikTok responding to us. And having people like Dan, like Nassau, like Easy, it's wonderful to connect with everyone, because later we feel empowered as young people. And if you as adults are giving us the hand to empower us with youth advisory boards of Snapchat, YouTube, it's a wonderful way for us as young people to develop and enter the world of tech. So hear our voice. because we have many things to say
Thank you.
on our life.
Thank you.
And we're happy to share it.
Thank you. Anything really quickly from you, Hannah, before we pop to the audience?
Really quickly, I just want to say I think everyone can see how meaningful the changes have been by how excited Marcelina is about it. And we've had to drill her not to give dates because she's that excited. She just wants to share it with everyone. But that has only been possible because we've had the engagements with the right people in the room at the right time who have been absolutely open to hearing what these young people have to say. And there has to be that real culture of openness and that real opportunity to hear their voices, but also to let them do, let them be involved, let them design, let them create. And I think that's why we have such meaningful outcomes from the engagements that we've had.
And summarizing that also with a trend, I will say, right people, right time.
Is there a question from the audience? We have some seconds left. All right, first hand.
Thank you. Congratulations, Marcelina. I'm Lucha. I work for the UN on violence against children. I want to congratulate TikTok also for their youth council and for listening to children and young people and involving them. I want to ask you, Marcelina, what do you think is the biggest impact that you have influenced to make the platform safer from violence, from cyberbullying, from the risks that children encounter online? And what do you think is the challenge for the other companies as well, for all social media and gaming companies to involve children and young people in their decision-making processes?
Thank you so much for your voice. Thank you so much for the question. I believe that the biggest impact we've done as the board and we advised on, and our feedback was taken, was that family pairing feature, thanks to which you can actually help your kids, and we can also talk with our parents about what content do we receive for our safety too, because every platform can go every direction. But if we narrow down what we want as young people there on the platform, we can make also the platform safer. Today, many young people have problems with DMs that are sent for the platform, some with inappropriate photos that are shared. Big problem arising now is, for example, sexting, that many kids are struggling. And thanks to features like, for example, family pairing, adults can see what type of messages the child is receiving. There's a new DM coming, and there's photos shared. They can see whether it's appropriate for your child or not, meaning that those kids that are young age, around 13, won't see and go into the inappropriate age direction that is making them safer too. Or for example, even you can learn from our advisory board or new features about how you can use the button like not interested to also make sure that those content won't be shared later. Or you can manage your topics on the application. And those are all features I learned by being in the advisory board, and I'm sharing with my colleagues and friends and online to educate people. As 3 days ago, both of us, we were part of the conference at the Vanderbilt University called Unmuted, Amplify Your Voice, where many representatives of NAMLE, of Snapchat members were there. And this is what we all brought up during the summit, that we must make the platform safer by also understanding those features. So, quick example. If you're driving a car, you need to make a driving license. If you're entering as a young person the online world, you should have similar sort of experience that you get before entering that world in order to teach them. Because if you're educated, you'll be safe. If you're uneducated, we need your support.
Thank you. So we are at time, but we will be around, obviously, at the closing. We'll be at the reception, so if you have more questions for us, please find us. Thank you to the panelists for joining us for this conversation, and thank you for your attention.